today we're doing eEdge Mastery. And so I'm going to do a quick overview on some quick tips and tricks, but I also want to take any questions that you guys might have. And that, you know, if I know the answer, great. If not, I will research the answer and get back to you. eEdge is an ever-evolving product, and things continually improve almost on a weekly basis. So there are some times where I can't keep up with the improvements fast enough, and so if I find out something, I'll come back and let you guys know. So some of this will be very pre-planned, and then some of it will be, hey, how can I help you, and how can I help you get better and use this product, which Keller Williams has given us basically for free with our office fees that we pay to KWRI. So obviously your eEdge control panel is right here. This is how you break in to your eEdge. Once you're inside, just as a quick overview, you want to make sure start with your admin tab, which is right across here, across these gray drop-down menus, and just kind of double check in your own time, or if you've got a little bit of time at this moment, and just make sure that you have things filled out. This is very important because this information pre-populates into any flyer, into any email, into any postcard that you print off, and it'll save you time. So you want to make sure that this information is correct. Scrolling all the way down, you're going to see that there's some additional information there. And on the additional information, you need to rewrite this. In your own...
Sorry, Carol, are you on the eEdge resources page? Or
I am on, hang on. I am on, this is your eEdge control panel. Usually I get into the program by just clicking View Contacts. Then once I'm in the View Contacts, you're going to see this gray menu bar. Go to Admin, My Account. I apologize, I got a little ahead of everybody. Okay, so when you scroll down to this additional information, this is information that you will show up on your website, and everyone has the same pre-populated text in this space. It is good for your SEO, that's search engine optimization, for your eEdge website if you will tweak this and make it your own. Now you can follow the same rhythm and pattern of what is written, just change the words up. The reason why is because when Google and Yahoo and other search engines look through websites trying to determine if a keyword search should pull up a certain amount of websites, then there might be 70,000, now there might be 100,000 because we were 100,000 agents strong at Keller Williams. If all of our websites say the same thing, Google will discount it, kind of like spam. So if there's 100,000 websites out there and they all say the same thing, even though somebody might Google, top real estate agent, but if Keller Williams gave us all verbiage that says top real estate agent, it's going to discount our websites. So go in there and change that up a little bit. Just change the words around, make it about you, put in your name a little bit more frequently. Like you can see, I've put in several times Guide to Real Estate Group, like we've gotten that written in. So if somebody Googles Guide to Real Estate Group, then hopefully that will come up, okay? So I just want you guys to know that that's important to do. And that's not only true for this section, but any section where you can add data, you're going to want to come up with your own text. Don't go to another person's website and copy text it. Certainly, I think we're all guilty of checking out somebody's cool website and like, ooh, I want mine to look like that. And that's fine. You can certainly get ideas and do things from other people. Do not copy word for word. because that, again, that will dummy down the importance in Google if there's two websites that say exactly the same thing, okay? Questions about kind of getting this set up and how to change this? Does everybody understand? You just hit this edit button and then you can edit all of these details. Okay, great. Also, if I have any newer agents in the room or transferred agents in the room, you want to make sure that your agent MLS ID is showing up in this spot. That is something that Hannah tries to make sure is done prior to you kind of hitting the sales floor, so to speak. But if for any reason it gets missed, overlooked, it didn't get saved when she put it in, just make sure that you've got your MLS ID. Otherwise, when people come to your website, the only listings that they can actually see will be the ones listed by other Keller Williams agents. You will not have access to the entire MLS data feed.
I don't think mine's still in here.
Okay, so write that down and then go chase down Hannah to make sure that your IDX forms have been completed. Because that could be, because especially Dawn, because you've been a little disjointed and coming in and not being able to be here. It may be that you filled out some of those forms and didn't get them back, and that's why it hasn't been entered in, or it could just be missed. Now, if you need to edit it, you can. This in the actions, you can hit this edit MLS icon, and then you can input that ID. But if your broker IDX hasn't been agreed to, it's not going to do anything. So we want to make sure it's done right. Any other questions about that? Okay, awesome. You can put in your profile pictures as well and your logos. This will also pre-populate into flyers and postcards and emails for you, so you don't have to add those photos in every time you create a piece. So that's just, it'll just save you a little bit of time. Also know if you happen to be using the eEdge product on a mobile phone or on a tablet and you would like to use the mobile version, there's actually a go to mobile version link that will give you a dummied down version of eEdge. So if you're just trying to enter in a couple of contacts, maybe make a couple follow-up calls, you just got an email lead that somebody just hit your website and has a question, you need to look up their information or see what houses they were looking at. This is a really nice, slick version of eEdge. It's not going to let you do 100% of everything, but when you're just on the go and you just did 20 door knocks and you want to enter in all the people that you just door knocked, or as you door knock them, as you're walking from house to house, this is a nice way to be able to do that. If you're in the mobile version, you can just click go to full version and that will take you right back to the full functioning website. Okay, in the My Account, you also, something that's just super important is your activity alerts. Do make sure that you've got text message numbers in here, email addresses put in, so that if someone does happen to get on your website and want more information about a house they see, you're getting instantly notified by text or email that that lead is sitting there. As we know, the importance of internet lead conversion is in the speed at which you get back to the client. The faster you respond, the better your chances are at snagging them. Cooler if they're even still on your website when you call them. Also, there is a subscribe checkbox. Now this is new. This has been probably about a last month or maybe 2 months, where now you can get an automatic email that will show you the people that have been on your website in the last 24 hours. This is very helpful because you can look through that list each morning and that might give you a few people that you need to go lead generate today. So if you're struggling to get your 20 for bold each day, or whatever your goals are for lead generation, this can give you a place to start. What that will look like would be like this. So as you can see, this is the email that I got this morning that's saying there's 6 people who are registered on my site that actually looked at stuff today. So this is just a quick view of who it was. You can send them a quick email. What's also nice is the phone number will come over. There's a phone number, so you don't even have to log into the eEdge product technically, although you always should, because you want to be writing your comments and making notes that you have talked to people or tried to, make contact with them. And this is just very nice. So if you allow that check mark on the admins, this is where you would do that. So if you guys have been getting those and not understanding what that was, well, now you know. Okay. General info, also just take a quick peek at that. Just make sure phone numbers are up to date. Those of us that have made a move from the old 7915 building, just make sure that this has got the new address and phone numbers that you want in it. And that your central time is noted. And the reason that that's important is for your .loop contracts, so that it knows how to date and time the .loop stuff, because it all integrates. If you guys go to the email tab, this is where you would set up your email signature. The welcome email that automatically comes out, there's actually two. One for somebody that comes in on your website and one that comes in from somebody you manually input. You do have the ability of controlling whether or not the client you input gets that welcome email. But this is where you can kind of pre-type that and save it. That way the client gets something from you if you don't respond. I think within 20 minutes the system will automatically send the welcome email and say hello. If the system senses that you sent them an email through the system, then it will not send that email. I just let it go. As long as I'm making a call or I'm sending them a quick email, just do it. I still let the welcome email go. I think any of us that have signed up on any type of a website in the past, even if that person made contact with you and you got the welcome email later, you were still like, hey, cool, It's just one more reinforcement that, hey, we're here and we're here to help you.
I have a question on
Yes.
the manually entered one, that welcome email there.
Uh-huh.
So did that go out to every person that I manually entered in my
If
database?
you checked that, is everyone up to speed on that, or do I need to go through that?
Well, so like when I clicked on it, your email signature, there are a couple of things in there that needs to be, I didn't put this there, so I wouldn't have put it in here like that, so, it doesn't know, it just has to say there, there's no edit button.
Well, just go in here.
So, because I put my email signature in on the other page,
Okay.
but I didn't put it in like this.
That will just auto-populate it for you. It'll make it more helpful, or whenever eEdge sends a marketing email on your behalf. So if you're doing the email 33 touch, this is where it's gonna populate what information you want at the bottom of that email. If you're manually doing an email, you can click in the signature, I do believe. That page that I just showed you with the email signature will help you with the marketing emails that come out on your behalf.
Okay.
Okay. All right. If I'm adding in a contact, there is always down here in the email section, include this contact in the listing alert campaign, and check here to send a welcome email to the contact. If you leave this unchecked, it's not going to send anything. So in order to send it, you would have had to have checked that box specifically. And I think it's just up to you. If you're just importing contacts for the first time in order just to get them into eEdge so you can start communicating with them on a consistent basis, then I say probably don't send them the welcome email. But here's also a really, and I'll get to you in just a second, Linda, a really best practice is that when Keller Williams rolled this second website out for us through eEdge, I called 25 of my top clients and said, hey, I just got a new website. For those of you that are brand new, hey, I just got a new website. For those of you that are transferring, hey, I just got a new website. You see, the same script works. Okay, so I just got a new website and I'm going to send you a welcome email. And what I would like you to do is to log into my website, actually set up a search on your own and allow my system to bug you for a couple of months. Allow it to send you listings. Would you please look at some listings? So set up a fantasy search if you would like, look at the listings. Let me know how you think. Now, is there anything I can do about any critical feedback or positive feedback I get? Not necessarily. I would certainly make some recommendations to Keller Williams. There is a way to do that. But that's not the point of the exercise for you high Cs out there. The point of the exercise is that we want them to start interacting with our website, because every time they do, when they are thinking of real estate, they are thinking of you. What happened to me is somebody I had just completed a deal with, they just bought a house, a move-up house, set up a search for acreage in Smithville, just for fun, because that's what their end-all plan was when they grew up. And it turned out that a short sale came on the market and dropped in price. The unfortunate part of the story is it dropped in price the night before we were supposed to leave for 2.5 weeks for a vacation. So they called me and said, pretty much, we want this house. We've already driven by it. We like it. It's exactly what we want. We're willing to take a risk on it. Can we see it and write an offer on it? And I was like, yeah, if you can. It's like, I'm gonna have to send it was just crazy. But anyway, I would have never thought that 6 months later, after they just moved up, that they would be willing to make another purchase. And had I not called them and asked them to play around with my website, would they have seen it? So then not only did I, have that sale of them moving up and selling a listing, but then we did it again. So I got 2 more sales out of the same client because of that. So you never know. And I just chose my top 25, but those of you that are coming over or setting up your databases for the very first time, set up everybody and tell everybody, make that part. That's an easy way to capture your contacts in bold. And if you just called them last week and said, hey, I'm in a contest, and now you're at a loss of who do I call this week, call those same people back and say, hey, thanks for helping me with the contest, and I've got this new website. It will just give you another reason to call them. And guess what? In 2 or 3 weeks, you can call them again. How's it going with my website? Because the point is, I'm not always expecting a referral off of these people every time I contact them. I just want them to think of me when they think of real estate. So when the time is appropriate for them to think of me, they will call me. Are we good with that? Okay.
What tab are you in?
I am at this point, I'm in the contacts tab.
Now, do you have to, when you tell them that, do you explain to them how to set up a search and all that?
I don't. Most people can figure that out on their own, especially if they've purchased a home with you before. They've probably been to Trilly or Realtor.com on their own, and so they know. And it's just as simple as that. And here's my best advice: put yourself in as a contact with a different email address, and see what the system sends you. See what the invitation to come to the website looks like. Setting up a listing alert looks like. And play around with your own website. If you're not doing that, you're doing a disservice to yourself, because you should know how to use what the user interface is on both of your websites, on your eAgency and on this eEdge site. Now today's is about eEdge websites, but you have an eAgency site. I kind of call it the inbound site. The eAgency site is much more customizable. You can, tweak around with it. You can put in kind of whatever you want. You can create extra pages. You really have a lot of flexibility with it. The eEdge site is your outbound. For me, it's more about buyers looking for homes. It's not about me as a physical agent. My eAgency site is more of what I might call my vanity site. It's more about me. So if you're Googling to see if I'm a good real estate agent, you want to know about me, go to that website. That'll tell you all about me. So that's how I handle it. Now, both websites have a search function and the ability to save contacts, save a search, and you will be notified from both websites through eEdge database when people save searches.
Does your MLS connect to both of them? Because I thought it would only connect to one of them.
No, you can have an IDX agreement, you can have an IDX agreement with as many websites as you would like. You just have to have everything signed off on by MLS. So, so for instance, I have a third and a fourth website that are, you might call them my stealth websites, that just are out there for SEO about look for homes in a particular area, or Kansas City, or membership cities that I signed up on this website, and they do a little more powerful Google tracking for me. That's an add-on, so play red light, green light with that stuff Brian was talking about. Do you, and today at the meeting, do you increase your budget to gain more business? Only if you can track it and you know that it's going to pay off for you. Once it stops paying off for me, it's done and I try something else, okay? So wait till you have the money first, don't get all wrapped up into, oh, if I go pay for this, I'll get more business. No, focus here, focus on your database and focus on your prospecting until you have enough money to do what you need to do with your websites. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. So,
What's SEO?
search engine optimization. So that is the juice that when somebody puts in Don Sharp, real estate agent, what website pops up first and where does your name appear and what importance do the websites show up. So if I were to put in Don Sharp, real estate agent, the first thing I might get would be the Keller Williams site. And the second thing I might get would be your eEdge site. The third thing I might get is the directory at Keller Williams. And then I might get something because personally you were at the teaching at the hospital, and something might link up with your hospital. You Google my name, I played volleyball for many years competitively, my name is mentioned in some stuff. I still come up on this volleyball website, where I was on a team that won a tournament. So stuff like that will pop up, your LinkedIn, other social media. So that's SEO, is how powerful are the keyword searches to what your website has to offer and where does your website show up in that. If somebody just put in Kansas City real estate, right? Google's got to figure out, of all of the websites for all the 8,000 agents that are out in the Kansas City metro area advertising, which one seems to be the one that people go to the most. And the one that gets clicked on and stayed on is going to rise up in rankings. The one that gets clicked on and backs out gets less important. So that's SEO, search engine optimization, is how do you build your website with keywords, content, and things for buyers to stay on to know that it's relevant. You can build it on your own, and there are some great webinars on the KW Connect of how to build your SEO. So I recommend doing that. If anybody's going to Mega Camp, make sure you attend Mega Tech. It's an add-on, but it's worth it. For about $150, you're going to get a lot more detail on how to handle your websites, how top agents use them, a lot of other tech fun things that, what the trends are, what the cool apps are. When Craigslist, when that kind of became very, very trendy to advertise a lot on Craigslist using our websites, people would get up there and just explain how they did it. How they basically ran a high C personality, just posted ads all day long and, did 100 deals. So Craigslist isn't as effective anymore because they've changed the rules, but we can still do it. Okay, going back to adding a contact, there are some things that I do want to discuss with you about that. I'm going to just add somebody in, add money. Self in again. When you're adding contacts into your eEdge, you want to make sure that you get in as much information as you physically possibly can. Get in their address. Decide if you want to include them in a listing alert campaign or send them a welcome email, and then you're going to save it, but you are not done. After you have saved it, pardon me, after you have saved it, if you scroll back down, you're going to see that suddenly you have a lot more information that you can put into your database. The most important thing that you need to do is group your contacts. For those of you who've been through 33 Touch, I talk in great depth about how to group your contacts. But the number one thing I want you guys to know, just for the class, is you need to have them sorted in your database target of who's an advocate, your A list, a B list, a C list, and a D list. Or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, it could be, you know, my peeps, my kind of peeps. I don't know these peeps.
How do you do that?
So the way you're gonna do that is you're gonna go down to this group section. If you've never created a group before, or you're creating a brand new group, you know, you can just type it in.
You're not gonna see it because you don't have it.
And hit create.
So once you
Just by
say-
creating that group name, it automatically puts this contact in that group. It's as easy as that. If I have already created the group, I can just click add to groups, and here you can see all of the groups that I've created, and then I can add them into whatever group I want. One contact can have up to 50 different group types, because that's the maximum number of group types you can have. So for those of you that would like to really dissect and be able to reach a certain target audience, create some groups like, this is my farm, these are my work people, these are my church people, these are my husband's friends, these are my friends, this is my admin's friends, this is my buyer's agent's friends. These are the buyers that came to me on my website. These are the buyers that I met at open houses. These are the sellers that I'm chasing that are for sale by owners. These are the sellers I'm chasing that are expireds. Right? You can really segment, and there might be more than one. Like, I've got people that are, you know, my husband's Cerner work friends that are now past clients. You know, they bought and sold a house. They're potential buyers maybe again. I also have, I like to keep track of how many people I close in a year, and then at the end of the year, send them a HUD statement for their taxes. That's just part of my 33 Touch to clients that have just completed a deal that prior year. And so that way I can easily go into the database. I have them earmarked for HUD of that year. And then I can pull all of those people up, know who they are in an instant, print a label, and send the HUD statement and go. It's just part of my closing process that an extra copy of that HUD statement is printed out at the time of closing, put into an envelope, and ready to go. So it's done. So when we get to January, it's just stick these labels on and let's go. Very easy. So that's very, very important. What you must have for groups is who you are 12 touching, 33 touching, and 8x8 touching. If you don't know what that means, then we got to get you in the 33 Touch class. Because in eEdge, if you're going to use the system to create those touches, then you have everybody categorized, and it's easy to say, I'm starting a new 33 Touch campaign to all the people in this group, or that have the 33 Touch label. I actually have it double labeled, so I have an ABCD group, and then I have them labeled, do I want this person to get a 33 Touch or a 12 Touch?
You label them, and you label the group, you label the group, or you label the individual?
The group, yes.
This is my question.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Linda.
That's okay, that's okay. When you had your pictures, then you had logos, so you had the tag team logo
Mhm.
instead of, we can use another logo besides Keller Williams?
Yes, you can. You can. That's my team logo, or my old team logo. I'm in the middle of a rebrand right now. And yes, you can put your individual logo on it. And I believe the KW logo is already preloaded for you.
Okay, only I'm having trouble, every time I put like a logo, it comes out blank. I don't know, it's like zipped or something.
Specifically, it may be that the logo size isn't formatted. I know I had to do some tweaking on the website through eEdge because you can put a personal logo in, but it has to be a certain pixel by a certain pixel. And I really had to work hard, and I'm sure if I were Bethany or Hannah, it would be very easy. But I had to work really hard on how to format that logo so it would show up without looking stretched or fat or not showing up at all because I couldn't read it. The other issue could be that it's not the right type of file. So maybe you're working with a PNG file and it needs a JPEG file, or you're working with a GIF file, GIF, and it's something else. So check that file extension. Anywhere in eEdge where you're asked to put in a picture, you have that opportunity. I do believe it will give you the instructions.
Right there, 100 by 130.
So we said,
When you attempt to upload it.
Okay.
And it's good to preview your materials because, you put in a logo and then you produce a postcard or a flyer and your logo ends up looking kind of silly. That's why.
I know this isn't really part of this class, but just a recap, like on ABCD groups, A is your peeps, that's your core group, we're gonna back you up for everything. What's a good definition for BCD?
Okay, B is people that know you, love you, will refer you, but it's not their love to do so. That is the easiest way I can explain it. Now, you remember, did you take the class when I did the, we're at a party, and, right, you're at a party, and there's people across the room that are talking about real estate, and I'm an advocate for you, and I hear that conversation. I'm gonna run over there and go, hey, Linda, I heard you talking about real estate, and Dawn is just not, rock star agent, right? B group, I'm at that same party, I hear that conversation, I know, love, and will refer you when asked, but I'm not necessarily gonna go nose my way to make sure that you get business. But if Linda and I are having a private conversation later and it comes up, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, you gotta use Dawn, she's the best, right? So that's maybe a good way to define the difference, and your advocate group is probably only gonna be a very small percentage. I mean, I probably, honestly, 12 people in my group of I 33 touch pretty regularly, about 500 people. I can increase it on a 12 touch, it's a little bit higher number, but it's not a big number. I mean, but that doesn't mean the other 400 people won't refer me or use me.
Right.
It's just they're not going out of their way to make sure that that happens. That core advocate is also people that I'm definitely meeting, on at least a quarterly or bi-yearly basis of, hey, let's go for coffee, hey, let's have a dinner, hey, let's go to the Royals game. Doing something with them as maybe even friends or business to business.
And
Okay.
Sandy?
C is people that you've met, that you're chasing, but not necessarily an advocate for you yet. They don't think of real estate and think of you at the same time yet, but they might. So these are people you're meeting at open houses, and you know what? Some of these people may be people you've done business with. You'll know by referrals and warmth of when you talk to people. C group for me is also orphans. So if I do a deal with let's say you sold one of my listings, guess what? I'm gonna 12 touch your buyer, because statistics will show that like 60% of people will use their agent again, but only 20% or less do, because they lose touch with the agent that they initially did business with. And I have gained listings only because I kept in touch and the other one didn't. Even though that touch wasn't, hey, how's it going? It was just me plowing them with a postcard, on occasion or monthly. But it was enough to, warrant a couple of calls. So, and again, you have to play red light, green light with that stuff, because you don't want to just throw it out there. It's a 1 to 50 chance. You don't want to just throw stuff at people just for the sake of doing it. There's got to be a relationship or a tie-in to make that more effective. Otherwise, what you're doing is a farm, and that's your D ring. Is the total unknown peeps. It's the target market that you're chasing. It's that hope that you will be able to get into a relationship with them, and you should have a target for that. It's XYZ subdivision. It's I speak Spanish, so I want to reach a Spanish speaking group of people, or I like dogs and I want to get the dog people, or whatever it is that you like.
Would this be like expires and
For me, expireds are a temporary C group for me. Now, remember that the rules of this is when you first meet somebody, they get an 8x8. That's the test. Then you decide. So expired real estate like owners, buyers that need to open houses, people that first come into my database, they're always going to get an 8x8 label. And then at the end of that 8 weeks, when I've called them a couple of times, I've sent them a handwritten note, they've gotten an email from me, they get whatever comes out of my 33, because that's just what I do, is I send them whatever comes out of my 33 touch, they get that. And typically that is evidence of success. So here's what I just sold, here's what I just listed, hey, I have a buyer who has a house that fit this description, here's a market update, that's the type of stuff that people are going to get from me. And my return on making it about that instead of making it about recipe cards and the time's going to change and happy Easter and all of that other stuff exponentially increased when it started to become about, hey, I'm a business person, look what my business did, look what I'm accomplishing, look what I could accomplish for you. That's when the referrals and everything really started to kick in. You get to, and that doesn't mean that occasionally I don't send something that's a little more holiday-esque or here's something fun, but that's not what's getting me the referrals. It's just reminding people that I'm in business and I'm successful. Okay? All right. Back to this. So now campaigns, which is, we do have a specific class on setting up campaigns, but just know that you don't have to go back out to the campaign widget to add somebody to an already set up 33 touch. So you guys come over, set up your databases, you set your 33 touch, you've got your people labeled, and you hit go. Now I'm adding in a new client that I just met at an open house. Well, I can add them to a campaign right here by just clicking add to campaign. That way I don't have to go all the way back out to the system. I can, as long as I've got it set up, here's my active 33 touch campaigns, I can simply add that person to a campaign right here. So just know that that's there. You ever want to see emails that are sent out or to somebody, you can click through this email and it'll show you the history. That's why sending emails through the system is kind of important instead of doing it through your Gmail when you're lead generating for business. I will admit that my Gmail does handle most of my communication with my known people. But your especially for your internet lead generation, sending stuff out through here will give you a track record of who you emailed, when you emailed them, and what was the email.
And did they look at it?
Yes.
Which makes me really sad when I look and go, look, I've sent you 4 emails and you only read 1.
You're right.
That makes me sad.
But remember, not everybody communicates. It's okay though. Because not everybody communicates. It's okay. It's just real estate.
I know. I gotta get over me.
Right, you do. Like Mark, get out of your own way.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Comments. Another very, very important thing to do. Come in here. I don't care if you know Mary Jane Brown, like the back of your hand. Come in here and say, I know Mary Jane from when I worked at Bob's
IGA.
Carpet. I know, I was going to say IGA. I was like, that's so old school. Bob's IGA. I didn't really work there. Okay, so I worked at Bob's, and this is how I know her. And today I talked to her, and I'm setting her up on my website. Blah blah blah. Whatever it is that you're doing, write notes. Okay, and you're thinking, well, I know who she is. Okay, think to the future. Edie, how important is it for your admin staff and your buyer's agents that might pick up a client that you've already established a relationship with and know how you know them and what they're doing?
Oh, they got to. I mean, it's very important. We put their dog's name, their kid's name. If a pet dies, we want to put that information in. I mean, really be detailed. If parents are passing away, if we sent sympathy card, flyers, everything.
Everything goes in
Because
there.
they have got to project me.
Right.
And I can't do it all.
Right.
It's a relationship, and
Yeah.
a relationship doesn't happen if you don't know people.
Exactly. So if it were to be Edie's schedule that Michelle Grace, who's her head admin, is responsible for touching clients that they've worked with in the past. Maybe she has a certain number that she just needs to call and do a customer service call with. We talked about that today at the ALC meeting. Michelle could get into her database, look at Mary Jane's record and say, hey, Edie was talking about she knew you from Bob's, tell me about that, right? It gives her a talking point. Hey, Edie told me that your dog was sick, how'd that go? Oh, you just had a grandbaby, how's that going? Or, whatever it is, it gives you a talking point. And believe me, when you guys and for those of you that are just starting out especially, you may be thinking, that's 10 people, why do I have to write all these notes? Because when it's 100 people, when it's 400 people, when it's 500 people, you're gonna remember your advocates and nothing else. It's too much information, you can't deal with it. What did we learn in bulk? How many pieces of information can you retain at one moment?
34,
Yeah, and how many are coming at you at a given moment?
2,000 and something.
It was like, what, a million?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a
The
lot.
pieces of
There's a
data,
lot,
and you
yeah.
can only focus on so much at a time, and it just starts to roll off. And so this is very important. Don't shortcut yourself on these comments. Penny, would you?
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment. Was lead generating, and I called, and the gal's like, hey, I'm heading to Colorado, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, hey, you have fun, and I'll call you when you come back. She told me, so I put it in my notes, called her back, whenever. And so I was able, I would never remember that when her name came back around the call. I read that, called her, said, hey, how was Colorado? Did you guys have a good time? And it was just, we ended up selling our house. But it was that connection that, and they don't, I mean, I would think, I know people probably write that down, but I don't know if the general public really realizes, oh, they're looking at their notes, and maybe they do, big deal, but, I ended up, a couple months later selling our house. But I would always be able to say, how was Colorado, or what she said the next time, how her students have trouble with her son, how are you doing with your son? I think it's just really important, and I think that, and later, she told me she had went to a loan officer that I hadn't recommended, and she told me that loan officer tried to get her another agent, and she goes, I hadn't even met this woman at this point. This was all the phone conversations. Oh no, there's no way. She goes, no, I'm going to use Penny Arvo. But it was just, I think it's because I was able to go into that personal and conversation. So.
I remember the first time that it was
Just a tidbit.
an insurance company when I had called them and they asked about my daughter and used her name. And I just remember thinking, wow. I mean, even though I knew that they wrote it down, they cared enough to write it down. That was important.
And say
to me. And say it. How's Bethany doing? And it threw me at first. I'm thinking, oh, well, she's good. But it was nice.
Right. And people won't remember what they tell you and what they don't tell you.
All right.
So don't think that, oh, that's going to creep them out. No, they won't remember
No,
what they've told you before.
I think they like it.
So yeah, I think it's cool. Okay, something else I also just kind of want to show you is you guys can look at your recently active contacts. So if you go to the contacts tab and go to recently active, you can actually put in a date of last activity, and then and you can also filter some of this out, and you can get a list of people based on this criteria. So it's just kind of another way to do a contact search that you can actually look for, when their account was created, the time of the last activity, if they were looking in a particular area. Just know that this search is here, or you can also search by group. So today, I'm going to call everybody that I marked as sellers who like popsicles. I can put that in and pull that list up, and then call everybody and ask them what the best popsicle they have this week was, right? So.
Does this have like top producer, like where you can set them up, I want to call them back in 10 days?
Yes.
Is that what you were just saying?
Not necessarily, but
No,
let's
I'm
show you
interested
how
in
to do that.
Because I
Let's show
heard you
how to
say
do
when
that.
it comes around to call again, and I wanted to ask you what is that?
Well, I do, that's the top producer, but I was wondering if they have.
You know what, I just put my daughter's name in there just to check it again, and it says, this contact belongs to Lisa Smothers, it would let me save it.
Evidently, she has her registered on her website. You'll have to contact her. Keller Williams only allows one agent to put each name on, so that's why it's really critical that as soon as you get a lead, that you put it in on that very day, immediately.
I had no idea that would happen.
Yeah,
That's kind of a
and-
good
or,
thing,
and if it's your daughter, you just call the agent, does it give you the name of the agent?
It was me. I already had her in there, I didn't
Oh,
know.
good, there you go.
Yeah.
That's, so,
So
there you
we're
go.
not gonna be able to put it
But I
the
mean,
same
yeah,
way.
you're gonna get that occasionally, and then, you know, we call the agent and say, hey, are you really working with this agent? This is a, we've got him under contract, would you mind being, you know,
Oh, that's
write her
fine.
and see her a listing and
Yeah.
say, you know.
I haven't had that, yeah.
I had that happen with the dot loop, where the client, it was a Keller Williams agent in Evelyn Park, and my client had been a for sale by owner. They had attempted to chase them, and I guess had even gotten as far as, I'll send you a listing agreement. And then the seller didn't sign it, and later I came in, and when they signed my listing agreement, the notification actually ended up going to the other agent that had signed it. And that agent was out of business, because obviously you were sending listing agreements to people that you didn't have a relationship with. And maybe that was why, but anyhow, it came back as this person's no longer here. So they got a kill from their email that, hey, this didn't go through. So they thought the stuff they just signed didn't go through, and that this person was like my admin. And I'm like, who are you talking about? I didn't even know who the guy was. So I called Loop and found out this is what had happened, and they were in his database, and the Loop account was tied in, and I'm like, well, that's not right. So let's try to fix that. So
Like now.
that is something that I put on a request list to be looked at. Okay.
Good question, I don't see where you can put that on there, a follow-up call. Did I miss it?
So what you're gonna do is, if you go back up to the, I'm sorry, because I can't even think what I was doing.
Follow-up call.
Follow-up call.
I'm like, what am I doing?
These people need to be called today.
Sorry for the people that just got dizzy. Okay, so up here at the top, do you see these little buttons? And see where it says reminders?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Click there and say add a reminder.
Oh, okay.
And then if I want to call this person back on the 27th of August at 5:15, shows me the contact. I can say it's a phone call or a meeting. If I had an email address for this person, it would even give me the email option. And then I can type my reminder and save it. Now, it is my responsibility every single day that I come into my eEdge to take a peek at my email and reminders, and that will give me my daily calls for the day.
Oh, okay.
So here, if I want to look, when I come into the office on the 27th, that is when I set it up, right? There it goes. So there I am. So this is the reminder that I just put in for myself. Once I've completed that reminder, I can edit the reminder if I needed to. I can mark it done, which is the green check mark, if you guys can see that. Or I can just delete it if for whatever reason I decided I didn't need to do that, or I made a mistake. If I save it as a completed contact, eventually I can go back to the contact and look at that in the history. So it will show up here as a completed contact, or that I made a call. Also, go in and add your call notes. I talked to Carol today, and this is what happened.
And where did you have to announce that? Right in?
In the comment section,
Okay, just that comment section,
Yeah.
got it.
yeah. So what that will look like is you'll just have a series of dated notes of when you input stuff. Okay, something else I want to show you is importing and exporting. I am not an import expert. I believe Hannah has mastered that art. So if you have a list that's a CSV file that you want to pull into eEdge all at once, then there is a way to do that. My personal gut check on this is I think you're better served doing it as you make contact with each person. Make that an excuse and part of your daily task list. I'm going to get through 10 people and get them in the database. I'm going to get through 10 people and get them in the database, and manually do it. Because if you import and your CSV file isn't clean, you're going to import trash into your database. So if the phone number column is off by one and the mobile number goes in the work number, or the work number goes in the fax number, or something gets a little discombobulated, then you're importing a big mess. Also, I think best practice, test out 5 or 10, make sure it works, and then do the 100 or 200 that you have. Because I'll never forget, this happened to Karen Hadley, that they imported mass 400, 500 people, and one column was off, and the only way to fix that is to go in and manually do it. So she ended up manually doing it anyway. So I'm like, well, you might as well just manually do it up front. For those of us that have established businesses coming from other databases, your comments and your contact notes aren't gonna pull over. You're gonna have to manually enter what you think is important. So you might as well just do it and make it part of your lead gen and just pull people over slowly. And then you're importing a clean database with groups tagged on. I've gotten very lazy at doing a deal with somebody and needing a dot loop signature and not coming back and putting them in a group, assigning them on a 33 touches. Like, I kind of got busy the last 60 days and woke up and went, oh my gosh, I haven't been manipulating those people. So you got to go in there and just clean your database every single day. Every person you touch, just get it in there, and it gives you an excuse to call them and say, hey, I just brought my business over. Hey, I'm just starting a business. Just want to make sure you have my contact information, and I want to make sure I have yours.
Are you still running top producers?
If I were starting all from scratch,
Right.
this product will do 100% of everything.
Right. I agree.
I agree, I'd never buy Top Producer again,
No.
No.
but I use it because I've already got it. But
Yes.
You're still
yes.
running it too.
But you're stuck with it. It's like you do lose that history. You do lose all of that stuff. I will eventually pull it over, but I will probably always pay for myself a subscription just so I have that history.
Right.
So I don't have to pull it over, unless I just find an
Yes,
admin
I
that
mean,
loves
that's
to
why I
do that.
struggle with, but I need to work with the people that are in there too. Because
Right.
I've been changing them over, and I thought,
Right.
that's silly.
Well, and that was something Brad Korn said in his, mastery classes, is that if you import a dirty database, and I know I still have some stuff for sole owners that Doug and I chased from 2008 and 9 that, are still stuck in there. And I'm not really doing anything with them, but they're there. If I just made a CSV file and pull them all over, then I'm pulling in all that trash of people that have already moved on, listed with somebody else. It's like I don't want to pull those people in and junk up the database.
Right.
And do know that you are going to be editing this database for the rest of your life. I mean, erosion is normal. And you're going to fall out of touch with people. People are going to move on without you. Things are going to happen. You're not going to get, sorry, we wish we could get them all, but it is just going to happen. Something bad might happen to them, and suddenly their mail comes back, yeah.
Do you, when you use Top Producer then, pretty exclusively, do you put your contacts in the eEdge then, each one? So
Yeah,
you put it in both
we're
places?
double entering. So eventually, I will be all 100% up to date. That eEdge was slacking on the action plans,
Mhm.
and now they have fixed that. And that was really the only reason that I I was pretty excited, and on the original ALC group that raised their hand and voted to add the $10 fee to our office bill to make this happen, so I could stop paying $140 a month for subscriptions. I thought that was a win-win. But then they released the product, and it kind of didn't have all the bells and whistles that we were initially promised. But over time, they've developed this, and they're working on a team solution, which I'm hoping will get announced
Oh.
at Mega, or at least at Family Reunion, where that you can hook up and be a team where that capability has an upcharge on it right now. So there'll be some things that I know Keller Williams is going to get fixed, and they're going to get right for those of us that are larger database users, that you can come over and see the benefit of having a database built in. So, and I also want to say this. This database is your database. Keller Williams does not market to your people. They are not saved, copied, dealt with. It is your business. That is Gary Keller's mantra. So if anyone has heard anything that sounds like, yeah, you better not enter them in because the business they'll market to them and they'll steal your clients, that is not true. Clear? Because I heard that rumor going around the building last week.
Wow.
So that is not accurate. I think that there are real estate companies out there that have and continue to do that. We are not one of those. So you have control of your business. If at any point, and I hope it doesn't happen to you guys, but if at any point you decide this isn't the right fit or this is not the right business, you get your people. You can download them. We'll help you do it. Just come talk to us. We'll help you export people, put them into a new system for you. We are not afraid of you owning your own business. Gary Keller is not afraid of you making your own logo and putting it on his sign, right? It's your sign. He knows that your success in real estate is directly correlated to who you know and who you contact. If his name is on a sign or your name is on a sign, that's not going to make it sell faster or slower. It's the effort that you put forth. Good? That was my second soapbox.
And I did import like 250 people, and it all came in fine, but it took me hours. It is not simple, not at all. I mean, I think I had to like Google search and watch videos, and not any of them were absolutely right, so it was
Wow.
horrible.
Yeah, so I just think the manual input, just set a goal for yourself. And most of, I mean, for some of those that are coming over with established businesses and taking this class, it may be a daunting task. I've got 1,000 people I gotta do. Well, you know what, just make a plan. If you're in bold, you got 20 contacts a day minimum anyway. So eventually you are going to get through it. And maybe that's when you take a look at that contact list and immediately, print it out and then just highlight the ones that you know are A and B and start with that, because that's the most important thing. Get them in and then start working through, okay, what about this person? What about that person? It took Doug and I to clean the database that we took over, that was up to 4,000 people. It took us a solid year of editing out, 5 buyers agents ago, they did open houses and everybody went in that database. Well, these people didn't know who the heck I was and didn't stay in contact with our team. And so why am I sending them something, right? So we had to really go through and kind of just make a plan, and just every week we had a goal of let's get this cleaned out, let's edit it. And when I first pared it down and started the 33 touch, it took, I think I took it down to under 100. So there was probably 2 to 3 months that I was literally only sending a 33 touch to about 100 people, and then we slowly added it in, and then by the end of that year, I think we were up to 400, and then as I continue to add, I'm at about 500 right now. So that's just to kind of give you an idea. Don't be afraid to edit and erode, or just focus on what you can handle financially even. For some of you, that may be an issue. I got 500 people, but I don't know if I can afford to mail that right now. Okay, that's fine. Pick the best 100 and work with that, because that's a very easy number to handle.
Hey, when I put in my when I press all contacts, nobody shows up. It gives me a contact search. I know I got one
It's
in.
probably because you've got something filtered in, because your last search that you just did is already, it saves it in case you want to do that search again. So if you go down to this reset search, it should clear out your search, and then all your peeps are going to show up.
Well, I know I got at least 2 peeps in there, but they're not, oh, you're so good.
I know. Can you say that louder for the camera?
Yeah, you're so good, Carolyn.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Do you send your 33 touches out through this?
I send my A group is on eEdge, and they do get emails. And if I'm talking to agents, everybody that has an email, I don't care if they're in the A group or the B group, if D group, it doesn't matter. If you have an email address, put them on a 33 touch. It's free. And the emails are slick. They look really nice. And you know what? If they don't want to read them, they'll just delete them. And you know what? If they delete them and they unsubscribe, oh, well, who cares? It just means they don't like to open email, do you? Right? So when it's important to them, they'll open it. And maybe that's a sign that you might need to give them a call.
So you're going to do a class on campaign and email?
Yes, that is done.
I got the phone.
Yeah, we may have cut back this month because I'm doing so much stuff.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, but no, that's part of the regular routine of what we teach. All right, market my listings. Just want you guys to know that, when you have a listing, the eEdge product will automatically identify it And you can, it'll pull up your listing roster, and you can select the listing and take a look at it. And then if you would like, if you hit the actions button, you can email this listing to your database. So if you would like to do that, there's kind of a widget that you can do that with. So just know that that is there. If
Does
you're
a lot show up on there?
is what?
Lots?
Yes, because there's one right there.
Okay, but mine's not on there. I
Would
have a
somebody
lot
like
listed
to?
right
Okay, so
now.
that makes me wonder if your MLS ID is accurate. Because that's how the system knows, is it takes that IDX and feeds it through.
Okay, I have one listing on there,
Okay.
but I have two, so I don't know what happened to the other one.
If you're a pro user and you like to do Craigslist postings, and the pro does have a $99 upgrade to it,
Monthly?
monthly, yeah. Just know that there is a widget built in that if I click new post, it'll actually take the MLS description and turn this into a Craigslist ad that I can copy and paste this. It's actually HTML code. I can copy and paste this into my ad and it will create a flyer, which is pretty cool. So just know that that's there. Creating marketing, we talk a lot about marketing. Gayla does a class on how to do a flyer. The marketing interface, if you haven't checked in on it, has completely changed. And for those of you that have been with the company for longer than 3 months, if you haven't redone your 33 Touch, you need to do that because they had to take it down and rebuild it in order to get this new kind of sexier interface, which is a lot more user friendly. So I will cover more details about the changes when we do the eEdge marketing and campaigns classes. But just know that this has kind of changed. It's a lot more user friendly, and they've given us some additional designs. Would there be any particular questions about the create marketing other than how do I do it? Like if somebody's done it and had a problem or anything like that?
The only thing I had a problem with was uploading pictures, which you had, while you're in that program itself, you had to go somewhere else and upload your pictures and choose from them. I guess, I don't know if they couldn't carry that problem, but it was a system-wide.
That might have been a glitch from when they cut over to the new system.
It was last week's,
Yeah,
so maybe it's them.
it could be.
Okay.
Do you guys all know, if you go to this help button and it'll show you a phone number that you can call to get immediate help, and I have to tell you that the support is awesome. And if you just click the help button, I'm just totally kidding. Here in the black tabs, you can actually do a contact us and email them. Okay. The other thing, and I think that Janet does do this as part of the setting up your website training, but I do want to make sure that you guys know, and let me tell you where I just went. I'm going to admin, website, and I'm coming down to the community served, right here. These are areas that you can input as your areas of specialty. What it does is it sets up predetermined community searches. So if I want to do a quick search on Liberty, I can click that link and it will automatically pull up Liberty listings. That community served is it's driven by zip code. There's no other way to kind of set it up easily. The widget just goes by zip code. So you gotta be a little bit careful of how you label your cities. If you're saying Gladstone, make sure you get, you might need 64118 and 64119. But then some of 64119 is gonna be Kansas City, so same with 6418. Like what you can kind of bank on is like Staley High School, which is a very popular search area. I think I have that one in here. Is 64152. So whenever I'm doing a city that has multiple zip codes, you'll kind of notice that I'll set it up. I'll name the city Overland Park 66204, for example. Independence 64052. Northland. So I have kind of the description of what those cities are, but it just gives you a pre-set up search that here's all the listings in Liberty. What also happens is here's a little blurb about what's cool about Liberty.
Did you put that in there?
I did. I'm going to show you how to do it.
You can also put links in there to take you to like Liberty's website for the city or.
You can, and that's okay. But I like to keep people on my site. It's just how I roll, especially when they're doing a home search. Because if they go to the city of Liberty and they start, they get into the Chamber of Commerce, guess what's going to be there when it looks for homes? It's going to be a link to another home search site. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do, but just be cautious about what you link to and make sure they're not sending you something that potential buyer that you just captured on your site to go somewhere else.
Right.
Okay, so what you're going to do in the community served is most of you, it's just going to look like this, add community. So you're going to click add community. You have control of what you name the community. So I could just say homes, and Casey Homes and North Kansas City Homes, and I'm sorry, I'm really not going to do this. 64116. And then I'm going to add the zip code. And then there it is. If I decide I don't like it, I can just hit that red button and it'll take it away. Is everybody following me? Okay, good deal. This is where I edit that content. And then I can also set the map so that it'll show the North Kansas City area.
Where'd you get the map from?
It automatically pops up.
It's underneath there.
Just scroll down. And this will allow you to enter in all of your data. And again,
And
don't
you add
copy
more than-
and paste somebody else's website. Don't go to the City of Liberty and copy their content. Write your own content. This
You
will
get the ideas, but then make it.
Right, go get the ideas, and then go change the words around.
So you can add as many communities as you want?
Yes, you may.
Should be right there in a box.
There's not.
So, depending on your template, there is a template where the community search, that's the only thing I don't like about this template I'm using is that those community searches are all the way down at the bottom of the pages until you get into the website, and then there's this community served area on the right-hand side. But for the basic search, this shows up on the left-hand side for most of you as a nice little sidebar, and that is pretty cool. Also, while you're on this website page, you work your way through these texts, and I think Janet teaches a class on how to do that and best practices. Custom page, you do have the ability to do one custom page, and you can label it whatever you want. It's very easy. I did this, and I am not talented at website development. Tech is a weakness of mine, honestly. I can teach to it, because if I didn't, I'd never learn it. I would just pay somebody else to do it. But I did do this on my own. And it's very easy to do. I chose to do my mobile app. If the girls still left it on the intranet, the 362 My Documents, there's actually instructions on the code that Keller Williams gave everyone to give you this flyer so that you can put this on your website. I didn't create this, I didn't write this is HTML code. The only thing that I did was put my personal agent code in there. And there's even a video about how cool the mobile app search is. And it's all built into the HTML code. All I did was get it off of the YouTube site, copy pasted it, slapped it in here, named the tab, and moved on. The code came from John Poey, Pohley, P-O-H-L-Y. He has a YouTube channel on cool things to do with your eEdge website and other Keller Williams technology. He works for KW International.
What's his last name?
I think it's Pohley, P-O-H-L-Y. There's another guy whose name is escaping me right now, but I bet if you just Google Keller Williams eEdge on YouTube, you'd probably find some instructional sites. There's also some trainers across the country that post video sites of their training so that you can see how to do cool things. Yeah.
Okay, it's go, I'm sorry, keep going. On the community search, I went down to the maps, it said it had an error thing that I could not get virtual maps, so what can I do?
We need to get you in touch with support.
Support.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
would give them a call.
just call Margaret.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why that would be happening. That's kind of strange.
And also, I did not have any listings on there either. And I just got my IDX okay on Friday.
Then what might not be happening is the code may not have been put in properly.
Okay.
So if Hannah's aware, I know she's been on vacation, and that may be part of the problem, that your ADX came in, then there's a couple of different places where your agent code needs to be entered. There's a place for your agency website, and there's a place for eEdge. We just need to make sure both are done. Hey guys. And if you do a farm, if you need to do a, like if you have a farm, so I like to market to ABC acres. You can actually create and make a page about the community you serve, maybe set up a custom search with a link to all the houses in that XYZ community.
Well, let me
Just to
ask
give you some
so
ideas.
the app, which we get from Keller Williams, what exactly did you get from John Pohley?
I got the HTML code that looks like this.
Oh, okay.
And I made a Word document and posted it on the 362 intranet site. Actually, the girls posted it for me. That gave you step-by-step instructions with that source code.
Oh, okay.
What needs to be done in this source code is wherever your agent code is, which it's in here, it's right here. When you open the Word document that has this source code on it, that will be highlighted, I think, in red and big bold letters. That's where you need to go in and put in your code.
Okay.
And then when you type it in here, change that code, and then this is the binary instructions that makes it look like this.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
If those of you out there are like, HTML what just happened?
Yeah,
We'll
I
get
knew
there.
what that was. I just didn't know
Yeah.
what you did, I missed the part where you said
Yeah.
what you used.
Yeah, whenever you're putting in source code, you're referencing a blog site or that you want to have maybe a copy of that blog site up. There's source code that you can go in and get and then embed it into your website. And you can do that with videos, you can do that with virtual tours, we'll have source code. I've done some experimentation with some listing flyers. And you can also put source code behind a picture so that if you were posting, for instance, on your blog, and here's a picture of my flyer for the house, I can embed source code behind that picture, so when they click the picture, it takes them to that house on my website. Or if they are interested, maybe they'll sign up and I'll get and that's a way to lead capture your website. That's how you use your blog to kind of hook into your website. You're not necessarily saying, check my website at, carolinsthebest.com, but you're allowing them to click the picture and the picture takes them to that spot in the website. So you need to have a blog site or an editor, a source code editor. Most blog sites have an editor built into them so that you can put a link in behind a photo. If you are a Craigslist user, Craigslist Ad Tracker also has that same ability. And it'll also track that code for you.
Hey, on the titles and everything, they're all jumbled up, and on the top of my website, they're all jumbled up.
Yeah. They're like overlay.
They're overlapping and everything. Oh, look, this and all these are all jacked up.
So are you talking about this part?
Maybe it's because you
On the
have
top.
it changed.
She's talking about the toolbar on top.
The toolbar on top, it's all.
You're talking about this page.
Well, mine's
Any
gonna bring
page.
it back up.
You know, on
Okay,
top.
so to me, what that means is your Zoom is messed up on your computer somehow, so that in order to fit the stuff in, it's overlapping your buttons. That's a display issue on your computer.
Okay.
So you just need to get the resolution correct. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but if you hit Control and scroll, it makes your page bigger or littler, and sometimes that fixes things that you can't see.
There we go. See, you're a genius.
Can you say that louder for
Yeah,
the
you're a genius.
Another question.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, going back to under admin and settings, under marketing, it has marketing email and it has marketing website and tagline. Does that mean you need to get a domain for that marketing website?
You can if you would like to. That would be an add-on thing that you would need to do. Pro users do get, if you're paying the $99 a month, that is part of the perk, is you can name your website. So like mine is homesforsalekansasyarea.com. So I can advertise that website, and then instead of your KW agent, whatever it is, it's a longer version. But you can simply, you can do that for any website. You can go to, GoDaddy or, web.com, buy a domain name, and then just point it at the site. And that way you can market yourself, lindabobski.com, go to this domain name, and it'll take you to this site without you having to recreate a new website.
Okay.
So I had a little extra green light money at the end of the year, and so I bought several versions of my new intended name and registered for 10 years for those domain names. And if you don't have your own name, you should go get that. And if you have a child, you should go get that for them. Because you never know what kids are going to end up doing. And if they end up being in sales or they end up taking over your team someday, wouldn't it be cool if they already have the website set up in their own name, a lot of length on SEO, because that's something else that SEO likes, is the longevity of a domain name.
How much does it cost for like 10 years?
Depends on your.
It depends on the website and if you catch a promo, but I think I paid like $16 a year for 10 years. I paid $160. I went and bought, like I said, I had some green light money. So I went and bought a few different domains with the new team name and made sure I had my name. So I had not done that. And I got that tip from Megan Camp last year about buying for your kids or people in your family.
So you just bought CarolynGeiger.com?
Yeah, Geiger Elite Real Estate Group, Geiger Elite, Geiger Real Estate. Like I went in and thought of all the different ways somebody could screw it up, and maybe it would be right. And to prevent somebody, potentially a competitor, if there was another Geiger out there, from shadowing my site or taking advantage. Again, that's higher level thinking. If you're just starting out, just don't even worry about that right now.
My name's already got its own.com. The
Yeah.
sharpest tool in the shed.
There you go.
I don't know who they are or what they do.
But yeah, just things like that you can think about, but for a child, because as people buy domain names over time, things are going to get taken. So especially if you have a common name, Carolyn Geiger was easier. But it,
Especially
and actually, I
when
don't even
it's
think I got Carolyn Geiger, no, I got Carolyn Geiger, but just Carolyn, my first name, weirdly enough, was already taken. There are some out there.
Oh,
Nick, come on, you're okay.
okay, something starting like that?
Yeah. Yep, I am back-to-back teaching today. Okay, is there any other one eEdge thing that I can help you with?
I think it's helpful just to sit and click and just look at everything,
Yes.
because that's what I've done.
And I really want to get you guys to these, if you go back to your main KW screen and you go up to the black tabs and you go up to the eEdge resources, there are just so many videos, webinars, things that you can actually look at. Every single update that's been done, live training, on-demand training, there's so much here. If you want to know something, just come here and hang out. I am also the eEdge ambassador for our company. I'm willing to give up that title. So if somebody wants to, there is a weekly seminar that I don't always get the chance to sit in on, I'll have to go catch up on it later. But there's a weekly webinar at what's coming down the pipeline for changes and cool stuff. But there's a checklist for setting up all of your technology. There's feature suggestions. So if you guys, have a problem with, hey, I really wish that this would do, wish it was purple. You can come in here and search the word purple, see if somebody else has recommended that particular feature. And if not, you can go back and set up a feature request. And Keller Williams International looks at these and looks at the development based on how many votes these features receive suggestions. And that's how we got how the initial rewrites and action plans and things like that have been added in over time got done, is because agents got on here and voted things up. So if you have a new feature, go ahead and just make a feature request. But then what you can do is look at the recent suggestions and then see if you like one. Like here's one text campaigns. Let's see what that is. Our staff was discussing text campaigns and realized that would be a great technique to add to eEdge. Just a thought. I like that. Vote it up. Score 1. Right? So go in here and find things that you think are cool. They're categorized here on the side, and see if there's something that speaks to you and vote it up. If you don't like it, you can even vote it down. But just know that this is here for you. The webinars are here, the roadmap, the extensions, and also know you go to Education, KW Connect. Here's all the videos. You can type in whatever subject matter you want and watch a video on it. And we're
Looked up your John Foley, and there's an eEdge, I don't know, guide in here, 201 pages, if you
Right.
really want to read about it.
Absolutely. So there are resources here for you. You don't have to wait for a class. If you're really burning to know some of these things, just get on KW and Google it. The other thing that KW Connect will do for you is show you top agents that are using these tools, and they'll explain front to back how they use these tools to make more money. Agent Mountain is also a really, that's Gary Keller's interview with a top agent. Amazing. It's like reading the Millionaire Real Estate book, updated. So we'll go in and for maybe older agents that know Star Power, that it's very similar to a Star Power conversation.